I can. We are now live.
Okay. There
Hey,
you go.
Sue.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon. How are you?
Good. I guess yeah. It was good morning just about 5 seconds ago. And now it's good afternoon to you too. I'm
That's
doing
right.
great. How are you?
You're very good. How
Awesome.
do we have a question already from Beth Ross. She says, from Wayne Gaddy, how do you make all of your technology talk? I don't.
I don't know. There's a little mouse inside my computer, and he's like, he's translating.
There you go. Another question she started out with is, how important is Google ranking in the real estate world? What is the best and most cost-effective way for small companies and individual agents to promote themselves on the internet? Great question.
That
That
is
could
a
be, that's a huge question.
that's a huge question. I agree. Do you want to start? Or you want me to take it?
Well, I was just gonna say, I've heard different things recently that Google Plus is actually going away. I
Hmm.
don't know what, so I don't know how important Google Plus will actually be in the near future. But I don't know. Have you heard that as well? I mean, that's been out
I've
there
heard
for a
a
couple
rumor,
of
I've
years
heard
now.
rumors about that for a long time. I would be very surprised if that's the case. That something might change in how it may be structured or something. But I'd be very surprised if it ever
Right.
went away.
Right. I think from the statistics that I see, and I don't know how you work more with Google than I do, but I think that from the real estate point, I think the Facebook ads are definitely a better way to spend your money than Google right now. I don't think Google has ever really caught on as far as generating any kind of business. It's great for exposure, but as far as generating leads, I think it's more on the Facebook side from anything I've seen. But what are you saying from your end of the business?
I've seen great success in both areas. I would have to say, as a probably a majority, Facebook is probably because it's just so popular and it's the biggest and the first one all the real estate got involved in. It's probably where most leads are generated. From an SEO perspective, however, um, I'll tackle that question, parts of it anyway. Google and Google Plus and posting and sharing links and creating communities, and there's a whole bunch. That's a whole huge topic. Has proven to be very, very successful in helping your site get ranked, and probably one of the most cost-effective ways to help rank. It's not just doing this, but it's knowing how to do it correctly. But what you and I are doing right now, doing a Google Hangout, Google Hangouts, because they're owned by Google, surprise, of course, no surprise to anybody, they actually rank not only themselves, but if you keyword them properly and tag them properly and put a couple of backlinks in there to your site or wherever you're storing them, etc., have proven to be a very successful way to get yourself on the first page of some keyword phrases that maybe your clientele searching for. Myrtle Beach real estate for sale, things like that. Nothing happens overnight in SEO, and the more competitive anything is, the more work it's going to take. But I would say that video has been and will continue to be a very strong SEO component, and Google Hangouts, which is video, just another side of it. Probably the most economical. Not everybody knows how to do it, but when done properly, it can be extremely effective.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
know that something else out there is the agent ranking, and I don't know whether you know or follow that too much with your side of what you do for real estate, but that's to me more of what you're going to see have more of impact than anything. The agent rankings, especially Realtor.com and especially now Zillow, that's going to be huge, I think, uh, in the next year or so. As we watch, we'll see.
Yeah.
That's what the industry is saying, but we'll see what happens. I know more people are looking into, when they're looking for an agent, they're looking to see what has that agent done, and that's why now agents are, they're being asked to make sure they're putting on all those sites things that they've closed and things like that. So interesting to
Absolutely.
follow that.
Absolutely. I think you hit a huge thing. In fact, it's one of the next classes I'm doing at the CCAR. And I've been following the whole, I'm calling it, I'm bringing in the whole review question. And I know that the whole real estate review scenario hasn't been the most popular thing in the real estate area, but every single major industry on this planet today is affected by their clients and the reviews that they get. And real estate has been a really slow adopter to that whole process. I met with one of the key guys from Realtor.com when I was in Greensboro about a month ago, and it struck me how big this is now starting to become. If you ever get on Google Trends and you do a search for real estate reviews, and you look at the 7-year trend, you'll see, just like I just described, it's very low, but it has been on a steady rise for the last 7 years. And they also did a survey to the entire database and asked, and they got over 3,000 replies, which I think is substantial. And they said, and I quote, pretty closely to quote anyway, that I think it was 62 or 61% of all buyers and sellers would, on their next purchase, would absolutely check out the realtor's reviews. So I think how you personally, as an individual, how you show up on Google, where you rank, make sure that if you should check your name, your full name, with the word realtor beside it or in front of it, and how you show up on Google. Because if you, unfortunately, here's some I guess potentially negative things that can occur. If you have a very common name, if there's a realtor out there, or for that matter anybody, and somebody just put in your name and someone's out there doing some nasty things in this world, people don't know you. If they're trying to figure out who you are, they might deem that as being you. So you got to pay attention to how you show up, because the consumer is checking us out as individuals more and more and more. So I think you brought up a huge thing. And I know you're probably aware, Realtor.com created a free portal for all real estate agents to go in and create their own review site that is no cost whatsoever. I looked at it like a month ago, and I think they had just come out with it within maybe the month before, or something like that. And it's a really nice platform. It's an opportunity for you to ask your clientele, past and even current, to get on there, and I would highly recommend you use it. It's got a lot of weight. I mean, it's Realtor.com.
Right.
So.
Right. And it's, I think in the past, what we realtors would do was ask ask our past clients to send us a note, and we'd post a note or something. But I think it has definitely more value when it's on a site like Realtor.com, things like that. So people should look at that. And again, check out Realtor.org, Realtor.com, sorry, and go on there and check that out. Yuval in the chat, we had a question from Mina wanting to know what PDF program you recommend to split or merge PDF files. And then Natalie responded she uses Nitro, which is what I use. So
isn't that awesome? I use it too. Yeah. I didn't actually know all of us use the same thing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, okay, Mina, use Nitro.
That's funny.
I love that, Natalie. By the way, what Natalie and Mina are doing, we hope that as more and more of us all get involved here, that we will help each other, comment, and have this live chats there for a reason, right. Not just for me and Sue, but for all of us to share ideas, what's working, things like that. So yeah, I love it.
What's happening in the real estate world. So yeah, I have had no problem with Nitro, and I use Word. So she wrote in there, said Word doesn't work with the Windows 8.1 unless you do a lot of modifications to settings. I haven't had that problem, so I'll have to check that out. I don't know. Because that's what I have. I have Windows 8. I think I have 8. Yeah, I think I have 8.1.
Can I make a suggestion? She's talking about the browser?
No, Windows.
Oh,
the operating system.
Oh,
and it could be the browser. You're right. It could be something.
If you're using the Windows, she's not talking about Windows Explorer though. So
no, it's the new Windows 8.
Yeah, I use one, but I have the newest version. I haven't had a single issue with it.
Yeah.
A suggestion, Natalie, if you haven't tried it, uninstall your version of Nitro Pro and reinstall it and see if that clears up your issue. Sometimes little weird techie things happen, and yeah. And because if it's not happening for you soon, it hasn't happened to me. I use both programs, and I don't use Nitro like constantly, but I do use it fairly regularly, and I haven't had any issue recently at all. So
okay. And Beth Ross also recommended that she uses ilovepdf.com, and she said it's free. which we love free. So that's an awesome thing.
Free's cool. Thank you,
Yep.
Miss Beth.
We love that. So
Yeah,
cool.
that is very cool. Hey, I didn't tell you, I'm broadcasting, or I'm simulcasting live from Carolina Pines Realty today.
There you go. That's awesome.
I'm so excited. We're having the World Championship of Real Estate Bowling, Wii Bowling today. I'll share a little quick story because I embarrassingly just got crushed the last time we did this about 2 or 3 months ago. I didn't even make it through the qualifying round. I was so bad, but
That's funny.
yeah. So anyway,
That's
I'm
awesome.
here to redeem myself today. I'm very excited about that.
That is awesome. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I got a couple of new apps that I wanted to just shout out about real quickly. I know the past week I have had a number of people ask me about CRM and the best programs and the best way to set up your systems. And I think I recommend MailChimp like you do as one of them. Also, Constant Contact is another one. There's a fairly new program. I just put it in the chat. It's called Pop a Note. And this is, it's a fee-based, F-E-E, not free. So check that out. It looks like a pretty cool program. I am not using it at the moment. I just found out about it, but it looks like it would do like really awesome stuff. And so check out MailChimp, Constant Contact, and look at something like this. I mean, you have anything else that you recommend right now for CRMs?
I think just for simplicity, I'm a fan of just starting out with one. So I'm going to just support MailChimp.
There you go. Yeah, that's what I use. I love MailChimp. I know we've actually done webinars on it, and I think that once you get past the initial setup, that I think that's the hardest part, because it looks intimidating for people who are not computer savvy, so to speak, to get in there, and the terminology is a little different. It's called a campaign, and so, but I think, Pierre, we actually talked about, and maybe we should do this, is do a teaching and record it and put it out there on the actual how-to on that. That might be something cool to do. Maybe do it live here and do it, so.
I think that's awesome. It's so strange. You and I are in simpatico today. Every time as you're talking, I'm going, that's what I was going to say. That's what I love that idea. I think we should do that.
That's why we do this together, because our minds think alike.
That was awesome. I told you I'd be into it. I get so many questions after every time I do a MailChimp class. I would love to do more of it in a recorded format, live, for those that can make it, and hopefully it'll help answer their questions and get them through get them through so they can start using it.
Yeah. So maybe we can set up a MailChimp one, figure out how long it'll take to do, and we can schedule that. That'd be cool. One other app that came out fairly new, and it has to do with passwords. And I know what was the password one that you like to do all your passwords on?
Oh, sorry, LastPass. How could I forget?
LastPass, that's right. Okay, so LastPass. So this one is called Dashlane, and it's free. I think it's free. So check that out.
Did you say Dashlane, like L-A-N-E?
Yep, Dashlane. Mm-hmm.
I'm just typing it in there. Yep. I've never heard of Dashlane. I'm, as you know, I'm a huge fan. I've used LastPass now for I can't remember how long, but I haven't heard anything about Dashlane. Hey, I wrote in there, maybe nobody else has tried it. I was curious if anybody had tried Papa Note that you had mentioned. I've heard of it. I'm not familiar with it either. I was curious if anybody had any feedback or experience with it, or had any success using it in any form or fashion. So,
but with the Dashlane, there is a premium version available, but the free version offers an awful lot that you really don't need to do the free, the paid version. But if you go to the website, it will show you the differences. But if you want to try it for free and check it out, I think it's worth anything for free is pretty cool. So.
Absolutely.
Check that one out. So that was the Papa Note and Dashlane. And I think that's it for me. What else have you got? What else new and improved have you seen out there?
Well, I'll tell you something. I picked up I've heard of the idea for probably over a year and a half now, but in Greensboro, there was a speaker, and I apologize, I cannot pull his name right now. but he was speaking about social recon and using and creating something called coincidences. And don't have a whole bunch of time here, but I'll wet your whistle because I'm super excited about this. There's some programs out there. The two favorites so far for me is something called Connect 6, and I don't have the link with me, but I'll type it. If you Google Connect 6, which I just typed in, is one, and the other one is called Vibe. I think it's Vibe. I believe this one, I'm going to just type in Vibe, but I think the URL for this is vibeapp.com.
Mm-hmm.
I use both of them via Chrome, and they exist up in my browser, and you can have them activated or turned off at any moment in time. But the cool thing is if you get an email in or from somebody via lead generation, etc., and these programs, if that email exists in social media somewhere, I would say in probably 50 to, I've had it some days better than others, some days are worse than others, but I say somewhere between 50, 70, 75% of the time, I'll be able to find that person's profile, whether it be on Facebook or wherever. And you can look them up and get a feel for who they are before you reply back. And then the technique here is learning how to use that information and create a coincidence in the email response. So that the idea being is that whatever you write back to them, their response back to you is, wow, what a coincidence. That's exactly my scenario, or that's exactly what I'm actually looking for. And one of the examples that was shared by this gentleman that I heard speak was this person had responded back to a Facebook marketing ad campaign, I believe was where the traffic came from. And he noticed she had a Pinterest board all about her dream home. And there was a predominant number of photos related to the laundry room. And when he just looked at that caught his eye. And then the second thing that caught his eye was that she had 3 very small children. And so when he replied back about the home she was requesting, he didn't say, hey, I can tell you, like, you know, the laundry room is important. He just replied back in the sense of, you know, this is a great home, but there is another home in that same area that has an enormous laundry room that I know our family has always found interesting. And he got a response back, he said, within just minutes, saying, what a coincidence. A large laundry room is very important to me. And a long story short, because of his ability to create that coincidence, which he wouldn't have been able to do without doing some social recon, that whole thing turned into a deal and a closing for him. So
Cool.
It's just a great way to really make your email back to a good lead like that impactful. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Isn't that neat? I've been following the topic for a while, but the way he showed it and he had a real example and all that, we're starting to implement it ourselves and for some of our clients now.
I can see how that'd be really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really neat. And it's fun to do too, because it causes you have to think a little bit and how can you word that where it doesn't look like you're spying on them or
now there's also there's a phone app. I think you use it. The phone app that does that kind of thing. Brings up all the social apps. What's that one called again?
Golly, I as you were asking, I knew what you were talking about, and I can't call app. I think it's Call App.
It is Call App. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right. Yeah, that's pretty.
That
does the same kind of. That kind of does the same thing too. So
it really does.
It helps you remember who the people are.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you, my wife was messing around on Facebook the other day because we were doing a review of some of the leads we've been generating, and she was just taking the email for a lead and putting it up in the search bar on Facebook. If that email exists for a profile on Facebook, it just pops right up. It's cool as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Excuse my language. It's really cool. It's really, really, really cool. Sorry about that word. Yeah, so yeah, that's all. I just wanted to share that. I just think that's something very powerful in the right hands. You know, I've used, if you've seen me speak before, I occasionally use my Spider-Man reference. With great power comes great responsibility. So don't abuse it, but
right.
It's. I think it's a very powerful technique. Anything that separates you from the other realtor that you're competing against.
Knowledge is power.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
So, however you get that knowledge is how you do it. So
absolutely,
awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. So, all right. Well, I think I'd like to see if we have any other questions out there. We're past our 15 minutes that we've dedicated for this. So if anybody's now, and otherwise we will, Pierre, I do want to mention that on May the 5th, we will be doing our webinar, not webinar, in classroom class on presenting a digital listing presentation. I'm looking very forward to that. So we're going to go over the what to use, we're not going to get into the content so much as what tools to use. We're going to go over a number of the different presentations, and then we're going to also have a realtor actually show what he uses for his listing presentation. So that is going to be May the 5th at the CCAR. I think it's 10 to 11:30.
I believe that's correct. And the realtor, Mark Davall with Century 21 out of Barefoot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got a great listing presentation, and he's gonna share kind of what he does and what he uses and how he created it and all that fun stuff. So it's gonna be a great class. I totally agree.
So you can just go to CCAR's website and sign up there into the education classes. So anything else, Pierre?
Hey, I'm just gonna say, I love doing these with you, Miss Sue. I hope everyone else is enjoying them with us, and we hope you come back and share it. I think that as this evolves, I'm getting the sense that it's not only going to be a Q&A, but a place to share ideas and what works. And I hope it is anyway. I love helping and working with each other, and it's a fun group as we go through. So I'm just going to wish everybody a great day and a great weekend.
Same here, and everybody pass the word on. Make sure you get some, if y'all just bring or get one other person to join us next week, well, that's how we build it. So
absolutely.
Pierre, I'm going to get out there tomorrow. It's going to be sunny and 82. So
yeah, and I'm going to go and defend or at least do better than I did last time at Wii Bowling.
All right. So Mina wants to know, when is it? May the 5th for the digital presentation. May the 5th. All right, you can put that in there. And again, just go to CCAR, and you can go to education. You'll get an email on it. Be sure to sign up. It's going to be awesome. And it will be in class. We'll be live in person.
Absolutely, absolutely. As always, Miss Sue's great working with you, and I'm loving doing these. So I'll sign off and say goodbye.
Thanks. Same
All right.
here. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye.
Bye now.